Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'm going to be planting up my spring bulbs. Now I should have done this a while ago, but I've been too busy, so this is now the middle of November, which is a little bit late. I should have been doing it in early October or the beginning of October or the end of September, but never mind. It should still be okay. So these are actually the same bulbs that I grew last year. I'll probably put a couple of links up at the end of the video so you can see the previous year and how they did. Now, I was thinking of maybe getting some new bulbs, but in the end I just decided to use the old ones again. So the flowering display, unfortunately, will not be quite as good as last year because all of these bulbs growing in such a small container meant that they didn't get enough soil and space to fully fatten up for this year. And also there was a lot of aphids last year in spring, which kind of weakened the bulbs. So you can see a lot of them are much smaller than before. There's one or two which are similar to the size that they were last year. Maybe they were more about that size last autumn, I think. Whereas you can see, if I can get that to focus, the new ones are quite a bit smaller. Some of them are very small, but there is actually more bulbs because most of the bulbs did divide. So I've got three types again, same as last year. I've got yellow tulips, which are here. I've got these purple and I think some yellow as well. Large crocuses, and then I've got some daffodils as well. They're not dwarf daffodils, but they're a bit smaller than a normal daffodil. So I'll do a similar setup to last year. Hopefully it will do a bit better. Last year I had problems because it was one of the warmest winters on record. It didn't get quite cold enough, so they all kind of flowered at the same time. The crocuses didn't get cold enough to grow properly, so they just kind of sat there dormant. And then when spring came, they all just flowered at the same time. It looked great for a little while, but it didn't have a long season. So hopefully this year, the season will do better. So I'm just going to start off with my tulips. Now I'm also going to plant the small bulbs because I've got nowhere else to put them. These will actually detract from the display, unfortunately, because these aren't big enough to flower. They'll just grow a leaf, and the leaves will just block out some of the other flowers. But I've got no other space for them, and I don't want to just throw them away. So I'm just going to plant them, keep them going. And then maybe in a couple of years' time, or next year when I have a house, I can plant them in my own garden. So the bulbs are looking quite good. They're quite hard still, like a decent size. So I'll just start off. I'll just plant the bottom with the tulips because they will be the last to flower, and they also like to be the deepest out of any of the bulbs that I have in this collection. So I'm just going to evenly space them out on the bottom. There we are, that's all the large ones that I know will flower. And I'll just throw in some of these small ones as well. So the compost mix I'm using is just a multi-purpose compost, which is peat based, but I've added quite a bit of perlite for drainage because bulbs like it quite well drained. So I'm just going to top that up now with a little bit more compost. I'm going to try and put a bit more perlite in as well. So the bulbs like it quite well drained. There's actually no holes in the bottom of this container, so I need it to be free draining. So that should be just about enough compost. So the next layer will be the daffodils, as they are the second latest to flower, and they are also quite large and like it quite deep. So I'll place them out, try and put them right at the edge because I know I don't have any tulips right at the edge. So I don't want the tulips to come up directly beneath them and push them out of the way, or for the daffodils to interfere with the tulips growing up. There we are, the daffodils all in, and again I'll top up with some more compost and then perlite for drainage. So that's me ready for the final layer now, and that's going to be crocuses. So what I'm going to do this year is going to have it slightly more depth than last year for the crocuses because they were right on the surface before, and I think that kind of was a bit of an issue. They're a bit too close to the surface, so I'm just going to place them all down now. And I've got, well, I don't know, maybe over 100 of them, so this will take just a little while. So there we are, that's all the crocuses, and I think I must have quite a few more crocuses than last year because I don't remember struggling so much to fit them all in. As you can see there's not a lot of space at all for any more crocuses, but hopefully they'll do fine. You can also see that I've waited a bit too long because they've started to grow quite long shoots, and that could be a bit of an issue, but I'm hoping with putting this outside, and it's been quite cold recently, we've had -2, -3, the average temperature is quite low, even the high temperature, the maximum during the day is only about 8, and we've had quite a few days at only 4, so the temperature is plenty low enough for developing good root growth, and that's what I need for the next few months. So it'll be outside for the next few months, and I'll be keeping nice and cold, because as I say, it's the roots that will develop during the cold spell, and hopefully when it starts to warm up again, then the top halves will grow and I'll have a nice flowering display for most of spring. So if the roots develop better this year than they did last year, I might actually bring them in to speed up the display, give them a bit of warm weather slightly earlier on, but otherwise I think I'll leave them outside. So that's it for now. I'll give you guys an update hopefully when they're flowering, and I'll just top up a tiny bit more compost before I put it outside, as it's still a little bit low. And I'll put up a couple of links now which you can click on to see how I did it last year and the results I had from that as well.